Hello and welcome, YouTube, to the final entry review of Marble Hornets, entry number 87. I know we're about a week since it actually released, but considering that it's the end, it took some time to sink in and just kind of get everything straight in our heads to do a discussion about it. And just for reference, in this episode we'll be kind of staying away from discussion of the series as a whole and leaving that for our series wrap-up discussion, which will be the final Marble Hornets discussion, unless we decide to do something about the movie. So, before we get too far ahead, I also have to introduce...
Book Nerd Knowledge. Yeah.
Yes. The end. You can check out previous reviews on both of our channels, but let's get into the recap of entry number 87. So, we see Tim returning from the college town yet again, and this time he goes to the back of his car, gets out his duffel bag, pulls out the mask from the pocket he told Jay not to get into in entry 72, and throws it into a dumpster. From there, we see him smoking at his doctor's office, and he meets up with Jessica. Surprise, surprise, who is still alive, apparently. And from there, they discuss things, and apparently she's on the meds that Tim is on, and is having side effects as well. And she questions Jay's whereabouts, and Tim basically lies to her face, and says that he moved and wanted to start somewhere new. Anyway, he says that this will be the last time he's around this area, and basically what happens is Tim falls over, collapses, coughing, and we're really not sure what happens after that, because from there, the footage cuts to Tim driving away. And in the background you can hear a siren, and finally we have a shot of him making a turn. We don't know where he went, and we end with text that echoes a To The Ark video. I believe it's called Decline, and it said, "Everything is fine." Do you think everything's fine?
No, not everything's fine, quite obviously. What really happened in the entry, what happened to Jessica, Tim's obviously not okay after what has happened, so...
Yeah.
I mean, just bad.
Yeah.
For him.
Okay, so...
The wounded survivor.
Yeah. There's two things, no, just one thing really. One question that I want to ask right now. Was this a satisfying ending? What do you think?
No. At the ending, it just doesn't seem right. It just says everything is fine and that's it. It's cut off. Seems short and sweet. Not in a nice little bow. Just kind of... Where did Jessica come from all of a sudden? I don't know. I'm kind of confused about it all.
Well, we did speculate that Jessica was still alive,
but
because in entry 76, you can clearly see her breathing.
Oh yeah, and she's so still before in that entry that it's obvious that she's alive, but I don't know, it just seems to all kind of wrap up that way, and I didn't think it was satisfying, but not a terrible ending. I mean, not like awful, so.
Well, my thoughts are that I can't view this entry alone as the ending. I have to view it as 86 and 87 being the ending. Because if you watch 87 by itself, it's very, very underwhelming. You don't have much wrap-up other than, I'm moving on and abandoning this. And what 86 has to offer is the action, the big payoff of Alex finally dying, and Tim finally breaking free of a guy that just wants to kill him all the time, basically, and his friends. He doesn't have to deal with that anymore, but he does have to carry the baggage of the operator showing up and not necessarily doing anything, but just being a haunting presence and possibly something that could still cause him pain, not just emotionally, but as far as his mental illness, that could still be an issue. But he seems to be hopeful that everything will be fine, but I do believe, in fact, that everything is not fine. I want to avoid, what this entry means to the series as a whole, because I said what we do in the wrap-up. But without going too far into that, the entry does avoid some things that I would have liked to have seen addressed, such as the Ark, and perhaps why the operator chose people such as Tim. But otherwise, the only thing I felt missing from the entry was more text. I felt that Tim needed to say explicitly, I'm done, I'm gonna be okay, I'm not yet, but I'm gonna get over this. But instead we get, everything's fine. So, I guess he wants to believe that, keep telling himself that, but we all know that everything's not fine. So let's address Jessica being alive.
Yay, Jessica! I am so happy that she is alive. Like, just a chick there. I know, me, but I mean that's just so awesome that she's alive and proves that you're right from the entry before. But I feel like we needed somebody else instead of just Tim being the last one.
I agree, because if Tim was the only survivor, it would be like everything he did was it was just a futile battle. Like he wasn't able to save anybody. He wasn't able to keep Alex from accomplishing his goal, other than himself being the sole survivor. So I feel like he did succeed a little bit, and that was ultimately their mission, to stop Alex. And I think that's satisfying that it wasn't a complete failure. As for how she's alive, I don't know, because when you see 76, it looks pretty concrete, other than her breathing, that she was dead. Because you have Alex retrieving his gun on camera, and you have the operator showing up, and you have a missing body.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you assume she's gone to Opulent, and I mean, I think that's a safe assumption looking at that entry, but
it seemed to be, but
obviously she's okay.
Yeah, so perhaps she was never shot, but maybe she was. But what we do have at the end of that particular entry was Tim walking up, I think taking off his mask and just walking around. So I guess it's possible that Brian doctored up the footage to make it look like Jessica was gone, but she really wasn't. And that could give meaning to entry 76 itself, because they took Jessica out of the hotel, but it seemed to only get her in more trouble than she was already in with Jay.
Right, so that protection maybe?
Yeah, and maybe that's why they were there for Jay.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they were trying to band together, but because of the presence that Jay had, and to the Ark seemed to already be a threat to him, he ran, and they were unable to do that. So Hoodie realized, I'm just going to have to keep playing this little game of, give you some videos and you do your work on your own, because I'm not dealing with your resistance. So I like that idea. And I'm glad we got some resolution to that, because that was something we weren't really sure on. But there's a lot of those things in the series, many, many of them that I cannot think of right now, because they're so numerous, and when you think of the series as a whole, small details. So, excellent to see that they brought that in. It didn't seem to be out of nowhere if you really think about it. So, how about the sirens when Tim was driving away?
Okay, my little theory. Maybe when Tim fell over, in his coughing fit, Jessica said, "Do you need me to call somebody?" Maybe he just kind of shied her away and ran away in his car, and she did call somebody to try and help him, but maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe.
Well, my theory, and there's really no way to prove it, and there never will be, perhaps Tim went a little masky or something, and he threw a little raging fit, and Jessica ended up seriously wounded or dead, and was being rushed away by an ambulance.
Which is seriously sad because Tim kills Alex and wants to save all his friends, or kind of avenge his friends, and Jessica lives, but then maybe something happened to her. We really don't know.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to our running theme for this review. Everything is not fine. You know what? I think that's going to be the subtitle of this video. Everything is not fine.
It's really not.
But as for a series wrap-up, there's worse things they could have done.
Right.
Oh, I almost forgot. One more thing. We said, what if Jessica was shot by Alex back in entry 76?
Right.
What does this mean for other people who we saw taken and they were presumed dead?
I don't know. What if Jay did move off somewhere else and he is living his own little life away? I doubt.
Yeah.
I
doubt that too.
I just don't see it. I could see her being alive, but I don't know about the others.
But
then
I would say Jay dead.
Yeah.
You could make an argument Brian being alive because Alex was able to move his neck around, and if somebody's been dead for weeks, you're not going to be able to do that.
It's a possibility.
So he could be alive. But others that we did not actually see, like Sarah, Seth, Amy, there's hope for them. So, again, something that we'll likely never have the answer to.
No.
But something I thought needed to be addressed.
Oh, yeah.
So, after 5 years of Marble Hornets, and basically I've been following this for just under 2, just shy, like a month shy of 2 years. Were you satisfied?
Not fully at the end. Not fully. I mean, it wasn't awful, but I'm not concretely satisfied, but not. I mean, I don't know, kind of not too bad.
As okay,
worse things could have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think.
As far as endings go, and especially in a horror genre, I don't think it was feasible to have a happily ever after ending.
Right.
I don't think we could have come away without some consequences. And I don't.
Doomsday ending.
Yeah, I don't want a doomsday ending. And I didn't see an ending where they defeated the operator either. Because they would always shy away from even mentioning his presence in a video. It was like he was almost not there to them. That was always something that ate at my everlasting nerves because that's something that needs to be addressed. But the more I realized that they weren't addressing him, the more I realized they're not going to explain him like we want them to. And it was always a hope that they would, give some sort of, this is what he is. Not how he came to be, but this is what he is. That is what I was looking for. So, I think we got the ending that I expected. Not necessarily wanted, but I always saw it as, there's going to be somebody left standing at the end of all this. And, back a couple of years ago, I didn't know who it would be. But I never saw them creating an ending where we see everything truly resolved, where we see a defeated operator and everyone, just going back to their lives. You can't do that. I saw an ending where people are going to walk away scarred, some dead, and some never able to get a hold of their lives again. A life perhaps haunted by the operator furthermore, but I would have went with something more ambiguous, like maybe he's still there, maybe he's not, you never know. That's an ending I would have wanted. We got close to that. So, overall, it was worth it.
Right.
It was a really good series, but I think that's verging on the conversation we want to have in the final discussion of the series. So, unless you have anything else you want to say, I think we'll cut this video.
No, I'm good.
Well,
Just see a series wrap up.
yeah, I hope to see you all there. All you viewers have been excellent for listening to our sometimes 20-plus minute ramblings about entries. It's been a blast. It's been a pleasure to read all your comments, all your thoughts. I want to keep seeing them. As for the future of the two of us on our channels, and as far as Slenderman stuff, we're not really going to look to Everyman Hybrid or Tribe 12 or a series like that to go to. Everyman Hybrid we don't really care for. Tribe 12 we follow, but we just don't have a drive to review it. Marble Hornets was something that sparked a lot of conversation. Whereas I can look at a Tribe 12 video, think about it for 10 minutes, and then quit watching. And quit thinking about it.
And they aren't very often at all.
Yeah. It's been like months since the
Oh
last
yeah,
one.
so.
So, we'll review the Marble Hornets movie when it comes out. We'll discuss maybe some speculation and things, when we get trailers. We'll be in touch. We're not necessarily done with all this. And if there's another series that isn't just like comedy related from the Troy Has a Camera guys, who knows? Maybe we'll be here to review it. So, of course, we'll be doing the wrap up and doing all of our proper thank yous and plans for the future then. But if you don't make it to that video, I just want to say to all you viewers out there, thank you for listening to us. Sometimes we were right, sometimes we were wrong,
Right.
way wrong.
Yeah.
But it was really fun, and that's what it was meant to be. It was meant to be a fun discussion, and just see if we can pull out some details when they weren't extremely clear. So, once again, thank you, and as usual, leave your thoughts, like the video, share it up, subscribe,
Subscribe.
and we're out.